Hey everyone, welcome to the final episode of All About Love. Welcome one and all to Shred Your Halo. It's me, Edel, with my best friends, Jharna and Abhishek Subhash. Hey! Hey, you guys. All right. So it's been a long journey to come to the final part of the series. And by no means is this the end of a topic that is actually inexhaustible. So, but at least hopefully we've shed some light into a very complex interpersonal dynamic in relationships. And hopefully we'll keep the debates going on. And the more we talk about it, the more we learn. And the more we learn about it, the more educated we get. And the more educated we get, guess what? Chances are really high we'll have really good relationships. So, welcome once again. And here we are on the final part of All About Love. So, today we're going to tackle two simple questions. Not easy, simple. So, the first question I'm going to ask, I'm going to present it to Jarna because I think after she says whatever she needs to say, God knows we'll need some time to lie down and recuperate. So let's take the bull by its horns. And Jana, the question to you is, what is the tangent of an unhealthy relationship?
So I'm just going to read this out and then elaborate on it. So, right. So, first thing is when you're in a relationship that is not healthy, chances are you will feel stuck, but you somehow feel that it's necessary to stay committed in that relationship simply because you've said, till death do us part. So, feeling stuck is a sign to know that it's not healthy. And when you broach this topic with your partner, if your partner is not willing to talk about it and just brushes it aside, then you know it's not a healthy relationship. So that is something you have to address. Second thing is competing with the person that you're with. Because
I knew it. I'm so glad I went with her first. Oh, go ahead.
I haven't said anything that's
Yeah, you're saying plenty. Just finish.
So, yeah, competing with the other person because competition is valued, right? It's a trait that people think is a very go-getter kind of attitude. But when that starts happening with your partner, it's a very, very
Oh,
uncomfortable feeling.
yeah.
And in that process, you tend to put each other down because you have to level your relationship. Either you pull them down or you try to make yourself big. So, either way, it does not work. Um, Another thing is being afraid of expressing ourselves because you don't know how the other person will react, or you've said something and there have been instances where
Sorry, 1 minute. I think, Jana, you're a bit stuck. The video. I think, was she stuck for you, Abhi?
because
She was stuck,
you
yes.
don't know how the other person will react, or you've said something and
This is like, it's
there
just,
have been instances where they have reacted.
okay, no, you're lagging behind, but this is funny. Okay,
Uh,
okay.
am I still stuck?
I think you're back now.
Okay. So being afraid of expressing ourselves, that is a sign to immediately address it. And many times we're afraid of what the other person will say, how the other person will react. So when you are afraid of that response, it shows that the relationship is not healthy. You have to be in a place where you can hear each other out and talk about things openly, which is very important. If that does not happen, you know you're not in a healthy relationship.
Oh, wow.
And one very, very important um, thing when it comes to a relationship is building intimacy. But if you're building intimacy and being too vulnerable too fast, then that's not a healthy relationship. Because how can you get to know someone just, I don't know, in 3 months, 6 months? It's too soon. It's too soon. And once we say everything to the other person, we don't even know whether that person can hold space for all of the things that we've told them. So that is also not very good. And if you feel the need to be vulnerable with someone that fast, you need to address your issues about why you need to do that.
Mm.
So these are a few things that I think are things people do when they're not in a healthy relationship.
Wow, I ticked all the boxes.
So have I.
This is experience talking. Okay. Right, okay. To you, Abhi. What is the tangent? What is the cause of an unhealthy relationship, according to you?
I think first thing which I have done in my past is unhealthy relationship is trying to prolong it despite you knowing that it has ended a long time back in your head.
Oh.
Despite all your red flags that you have been seeing time and again, or bad dynamics, simply any of it, and still trying to pull it like one rubber band.
Yeah.
And when the moment it is released, it's going to come and hit you so hard, you go flying somewhere else. Preferably, most likely into a rebound relationship you fall into. The rubber band has snapped and you're gone into another rebound relationship.
Oh God, this is. Oh, we're laughing because the
We don't
alternative
know
is
what else to
crying in
do.
pain.
Essentially, if I have to sum up my past relationship, it shouldn't have gone beyond 1 year. It shouldn't have gone beyond 1 year. Despite everything, it shouldn't have gone beyond 1 year. But I stretched it for 7 years. So
This is what I keep on telling Jharna. She's the champion flogger of a dead horse uphill. Like you were in a relationship for 8 years. Like all the work was done by her, and all the work is done. But compared to the both of you, I'm a little bit better. I feel. I quit and ran. Yeah.
So yeah, that is first point. Second point, which I'd like to make is these are various things that either of if you are doing it or if your partner is doing it. Essentially, many times I think these points which I'm going to say probably you may not be saying to your partner directly. Most of the time, you might be saying it to your friend or somebody else. So I think you need to be aware of what is going on, like a blame game. This can be between two partners.
Yes.
Just for trivial issues, also there is a blame game. Oh, you did it because of you, because of you. It's just I don't know what is the word for this.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, if it's an abusive relationship, it can be any sort of abusive. It's obviously physical. You have to leave. Uh, Mental abuse, nobody wants to talk about it, and that's the most prevalent form of abuse, I think.
Yes.
It's an abusive relationship, any sort of abuse which you have been feeling, you've been put down in all the time, or whatever kind of mental abuse, I think it's a very unhealthy relationship. The other person may be knowing, but chooses to ignore because you are not standing up. So just
That
you
is a
need to be.
very frightening possibility, isn't it? That you could be feeling all this, but for
Yes.
whatever reason you choose not to express it,
Yes.
either not express it or express it efficiently in a language the other person understands. So they are probably under the illusion that they're like a wonderful partner, right?
Yeah.
While the other person is
Or it's
suffering.
okay to put you down.
That is a frightening extreme.
Essentially, I think the language is very important. Even if you're feeling this particular abuse is happening, but you're choosing to use the language of a martyr victim or of a blame game, it's not going to translate effectively. The other
Yes.
person is going to get defensive and is not going to hear you because you are not communicating in the most effective manner.
Yes.
So so blame game, any kind of abuse, or the third point, which I already said, is playing the victim or the martyr card, which most likely it could be you're talking about it to your friends. So it's something that you need to be noticing. I have done it. I've forever played the victim. I've forever used the martyr card myself. So uh, you know there's no go. It's a very unhealthy thing that's going on, and you need to notice it, and you need to take corrective measures because this is not going to end very well. Last is, of course, I think if it's a skewed or a lopsided balance in the relationship, which I already mentioned in, I think, in the previous episodes, if it's an unequal relationship, if it's not a relationship between two equal partners, one of y'all is always going to be left, you know, wanting for more, uh, and it's not going to again end very well. So I think it is very important in the beginning itself. You know that the relationship that you're getting into is with somebody whom you consider to be your equal. So yeah.
Yes. You've always maintained it for as long as I've known you, Abhi. You've
Yeah.
always said that. And I think that's a very good lesson I learned as a result of being with you. Right. The tangent of an unhealthy relationship, according to me, I've written down a few points as well. It'll just feel wrong being in the home with that person. Something will just feel wrong. You'd prefer to go out, you'd prefer to spend time on the phone, either you or the other person, right? And there will be the sense of um, wanting to escape from that other person. This is why we hear so many stories of people having dating apps in spite of being in a relationship with a person. They may not technically be cheating, but they're having all the signs and symptoms of a person who is about to cheat, which I think is just as bad. So it'll just feel wrong. Something will feel wrong inside the house. The second one is at any given time, one partner will be sacrificing for the survival of the relationship, which I think is in some form or the other, all the three of us have said that point. The relationship will be tottering on one leg, which is longer than the other. One person will be coasting and the other person will be carrying the weight and the brunt of the damage that the relationship is wreaking on them just to keep the semblance of a relationship going. And that is another recipe of a very, very unhealthy relationship. The relationship will feel emotionally risky. Um, this is in conjunction with 2 points the both of you made when Jharna said about when you're with a person with a contentious relationship, a competitive relationship, and when you, Abhi, brought forth the point that you're in a relationship with a person who feels unequal to you. Either you feel inferior or you feel superior. That there is a disparity in the power struggle. So in whichever the condition, there will feel this emotional risk that we feel that we are putting ourselves into. Like even if you're a trophy wife, right? This is what I felt. This person that I was learning so much about to tackle and take into notice his moods And whatever he wanted to do, I did because he wasn't able to regulate and handle his moods very well, my ex partner. And in the end, I was just sitting there asking myself this question. I'm becoming such an expert in predicting his moods, in making him feel better, in building him up. If he left, what is this particular skill going to do for me in the real world? This is a skill that is working only in the relationship. Outside, it's worth bullshit, you know? But let's say I'm in a relationship, my friendship with you, Abhi, I learned so much. And I always come back and tell you, you taught me this, you taught me that. I put that into effect, and now I'm boss of that situation. And Jharna, the same way. Every single time she taught me something, I was able to break off a couple of 10-year friendships because of the wisdom she gave me. And I know I'm not going to allow people like that into my life. And I kept asking myself this question. I am with this person, I'm becoming an expert in making him happy. Outside, I'm too exhausted making him happy and I've got nothing else. So, what are we specializing in the relationship? And what does it do on the outside? We have to ask ourselves. And in an unhealthy relationship, in the outside, it's a big fat zero. The next one is the relationship at best will feel like it's in limbo, and at worst, it'll be a dead end. So when Jarna mentioned how they feel very vulnerable in the beginning and they start love bombing you, uh, my ex was like the first day we met, he declared that I was his girlfriend, and I was vulnerable enough to say, yeah, okay. And it was just like this, ah, I don't have to date anymore. Okay, I have a boyfriend. It was more than any, it was just such a rest. And there was this huge love bombing in the first few months. And I thought, wow, this perfect person. Guess what? Steady decline after that. You can't. And then, but the problem is, you're stuck with that first impression, right? And it is so difficult to extricate yourself from that first impression. So you keep being in that unhealthy relationship because afterwards it was just torture. It was just plain torture. He was able to maintain some semblance of a good guy the first few months. After that, it was just tragic torture. And I was entrapped in the memory of the first few months. So, okay, an unhealthy relationship, there'll be a decline. And you will constantly have to sit around wondering, where is this relationship going? If it is going anywhere. I'm such an expert on this person and I don't know how to translate it out into the world. I've sacrificed so much and this just feels wrong. So these are all the things that we will feel in an unhealthy relationship. And on that cheerful note, let's talk about what the tangent is for a healthy relationship. I'm going to go with you first, Abhi. What do you think a tangent will be like for a healthy relationship?
Okay, so a healthy relationship is going to be seamless, and
Hmm.
it's going to mentally, physically, sexually as well.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, uh, it's just going to be seamless. Every part, every bit, spiritually also, every part of your body, mind, and soul is going to fit perfectly, and it's just going to be seamless. You wouldn't be like, what is there to talk about it? It's going to be like that.
Yes.
If somebody would ask you to describe your relationship, I think the the best relationship, you wouldn't be knowing what you should be talking. Like if I have to
Yes.
talk about my friendship with you and Jana, I don't know what I should be saying.
You'll
Most of the
probably
time, like,
say we're all
yeah.
fruitcakes.
Yeah.
Jana, we're cool people, okay? We have a vlog on YouTube. Oh dear God, please put the gangster son down. I was just saying we're cool, and she went like that. Right, okay.
So I think just like that, just like how
Mm-hmm.
this friendship we are having, I think if I were to have such a relationship, I would be not knowing what I should be talking, most of the time. So it would be like that, I think, seamless.
Yes.
Also, I think, which I think in the first or second episodes, I think Adel, you have spoken about, in a healthy relationship, nobody is left second guessing. Everybody
I
is on the same page
yes.
and moving forward,
Predictable. Yes.
predictable, moving forward, and it's just a wonderful, bright, nice day in the relationship always.
It'll be
And
like coming home for rest instead of having to
yes,
escape from home
yeah,
for rest, right?
yes. Third point is, I think there your healthy relationship. There will be individual growth, and as a couple or couple growth as well. You should
Oh,
be able to see your own individual growth, and as a
yes.
couple, whatever plans you all make, whatever, like, okay, we're moving into a new house, or you're taking a pet, having a pet, or whatever, that kind of growth, and so it's going to have both individually is very important. So last is, I think, if a healthy relationship, if it's not, you may experience difficulties, and no relationship is going to be without some amount of difficulties. So I think any healthy relationship, the partners wouldn't be shying away from therapy or counseling if needed.
Yes.
So
Well done. Well done
yeah.
for bringing that point in for. Yes, Abhi.
So I think many people are very, very resistant to even acknowledge something is wrong in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Forget about even wanting to therapize themselves and their relationship.
Yes.
So that's a different scenario altogether. But I think in today's time, there shouldn't be any excuse for not wanting to go to therapy or counseling, and just trying to make things better and getting a better relationship at the end of the day. What's the harm if somebody else is giving you another viewpoint which both of you are not able to see? So yeah,
Absolutely.
so that's I think healthy relationship according to me.
Wow. This is a relationship that is not zero tolerance to living with a problem. We're going to have a solution. And if
Yes.
it requires therapy, if it requires a couples retreat, if it requires, both of us finding our own passions and coming back together and discussing it, or joining and finding a new passion. I love the last point, what you said. That is such a life affirming part of being in a, and that I think that's how you have adventures in a relationship, don't you?
Yeah.
By refusing to allow problems to fester. Oh God, that I just had goosebumps in my neck. All right, Jarna, up to you. What, according to you, is the tangent, the course of a healthy relationship?
So one thing Abhi's already said regarding therapy, that was something even I had in mind. Taking external help when required, working towards building intimacy that is comfortable for both partners. One person may want to go a little faster, one person may want to take a little time. Where do you find the middle ground?
Oh yes.
So that is extremely important. Second, having a sense of humor that is respectable for both people's boundaries. Because very, very commonly we see couples that are poking fun at each other and they just pass that off as normal. And sometimes there's a lot of resentment. So it's very important to understand what constitutes sense of humor for each other. Because if you want to have a good relationship, a sense of humor is required to keep it light and playful. You will also have intense times, you will have serious discussions, but this is also very important. So that is something I consider a good sign to know that you're with someone that you want to be with. Um,
I just
Along the same lines, yes, Abhi?
Jarna, just because you made the sense of humor, which is a very important, which is a very good point. I think with humor, because it is humorous, people do not let their boundaries down because it's said humorously. It is humorous, and that's where I think a lot of people cross the boundaries because
Oh
we have
God,
let our
yes.
boundaries down
Mm.
simply because it has been funny, and not necessarily funny for me,
Hmm.
but everybody else found it funny, but it wasn't funny for me.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And in such a situation, to just say that this was not funny, I didn't feel it. You many a times you may feel that you're just being like uh, uptight person,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and that could be thrown back at you. Oh, you're
Mm-hmm.
so uptight. You don't have a sense of humor. Take a chill
Ooh.
pill.
Oh, oh, oh.
Fuck you. You know, that's it. If the humor is directed at me, fuck everybody. You don't
Yeah.
have a word.
Usually when there's a joke, right, it's about, I think this was on Hannah Gadsby's Nanette, when she's talking about jokes. Usually you set that up like it's moving in a direction and then comes a punchline. But a lot of times, people don't realize that they poke fun at people, and the punchline is something that puts them down. So,
Mm.
when we're talking about sense of humor, I mean, the three of us, when we hang out or when we're just talking, we're laughing so much. And we're not making fun of each other that is hurtful. I mean, we know how to take a joke because there are certain things we've made peace with about ourselves. But even when we're joking around, I don't think any of us has ever crossed that line. So it's important to know who your audience is. And if you have a dull partner, I don't know. I don't think I can work with
Oh.
that.
No, but this is the thing, Jarna, that you brought this point up. We worked for how many years to build a
Mm,
solid foundation of trust?
yeah.
I know that I know that I know that you will never hurt me.
Mm,
You might say something to put me on the right track, which can be extraordinarily difficult for me to hear. But guess what? You don't have a stake in my success or my failure. And when you're saying something to me and it feels like a slap in the face sometimes, and I follow that advice, guess what? I win. So
mm,
you have built a foundation, and so has Abhi. We've built, and I have done the same for the both of you. It's taken us so many years,
yeah.
and we have so many struggles that we've left behind that we can now look back and laugh at because they're not fresh wounds. We've helped each other heal so much, right?
Yeah.
We're not going to get some upstart walking into our life,
Mm,
looking at the effort of 5, 6, 10 years of hard work, which is who we are,
mm,
and put us down. No,
yeah.
sir. Yeah.
Yeah. And another thing is, yes, being predictable, knowing your place in each other's lives. Abhi's
Yes.
already covered that. Another thing is being able to express ourselves freely. Again, it takes time because you're building that relationship with each other. Um, this is a point I don't think many people talk about. You genuinely have to like the other person to be in a relationship with them. Do you want this person to be in your life?
Mm.
What does this person bring to the table? How
Yes.
does it add to your life? Because if none of these boxes are being checked, then what's the point at all? Right?
Mm.
And one final thing for me, I think, is the relationship that I have with both of you. this person has to bring something more to the table to be in my life as a partner.
Sex.
Sorry, I have the grinder boys. And no talking also needed for that.
That just went from
This
so much love to just like, what just happened?
this is
We're
just
very base.
this is not just sex, it's cuddles after sex. Who is ready to do that? Who is willing for that? Whom are you ready to allow that with?
Oh my god. Yeah. It's
I'm
like
just going to go with the conversations that we have.
okay, Abhi. Okay, Jharna. Yes, go ahead. Yeah.
So there has to be something more because the kind of conversations we have, and we have so much fun when we're just hanging out. It has to be better than that. Anything below this level of camaraderie that we have or the trust, I mean, of course, that comes with time. But if all of this is not there, then what's the point really?
Yeah.
So, yeah, these are a few things that I think is
Just one more point
important.
from what you made, Jarna, is I think you made a very good point that you need to like the person. I think many of us are just liking the fact of being in a relationship and
God.
not necessarily the person that we are with. We just
Yes.
want to be in a relationship. So, yeah, that's a very good point, actually.
Wow.
Hmm. What about
Well
you,
done,
Adele?
Nicholas. Yes. I don't know what I'm going to add to this, but here is what the course of a healthy relationship will look like. There will be a gradual escalation. There will not be a deceleration. There will not be a decline, but there's be a gradual escalation. You will meet, there will be attraction, you'll go out for a few times, you'll start being exclusive, moving together, and then you start introducing each other to everybody's families, everybody gets to know each other, then you get married, then there will be a gradual escalation of the seriousness of the relationship. The fact that this is the problem with love bombers, they'll start big. It's a sprint, it's not a marathon for them. So it's up to us, right? If we have low self-esteem, low self-worth, we're going to fall for the love bombers. And we've all been prey to that. So the first job to make sure that we go and form relationships with people who will gradually escalate things with us is if we have an inner iron core of self-worth. So that's where it starts. The relationship will gradually escalate, and it'll escalate gently at a pace that is comfortable for the both of us. And there will be, and the second one is your partner will not, and you as well, will not make roadblocks for each other. We will be dedicated to making the path smoother for the other person, right? So it's one thing. Like there are little things like if somebody, I've always told the both of you, a problem that can only be settled within the first 10 seconds of having highlighted it is a problem you should be talking about, right? If I have lipstick in my teeth, you should tell me I have lipstick in my teeth. I can get rid of it in less than 10 seconds. Have no right to have a problem with your sexuality. I shouldn't have a problem with your caste, your religion, your race, your age, your socioeconomic status, your geography. Those are things that cannot be changed. So you need to be in a relationship with someone who has lipstick in the teeth kind of problems with you, not any other problems. And
Yeah.
they should not be bringing in problems into your life that you are powerless to change. When people bring problems like that, they don't want a relationship, they want a conflict. And they're feeding off the energy that you give out on being helpless. And they are getting off on being the big guy or the big woman in the relationship. So make sure what kind of problem your partner is focusing on. If the partner is focusing on an immovable problem, get the fuck out of the relationship because this is not going anywhere. A healthy relationship will have lipstick on the teeth kind of problems. Always remember that. The second one is exactly what you guys said. You will never have to guess where you stand in each other's lives. This does not mean taking the other for granted. It's not familiarity breeding contempt kind of a situation, but deeply, intimately knowing the other person. Like I have anxiety about going to the petrol station for whatever reason. I just hate filling petrol in my car. I cannot imagine anything more romantic than having a partner who would be like, oh, this is bothers her. Let me just make sure the car is filled with petrol all the time. I swear to God, that to me is romance at the highest. So you will know the little nuances about each other and fill that, make life easier. And there will be a healthy sense of certainty. So this person, let's say I have a boyfriend who fills my car with petrol, but then spends the entire evening just reading a book and ignoring me. Doesn't matter. I know exactly where I stand in his heart. You know what I mean? So a person who is willing to let you know where you stand in their life is a person who does not have low self-esteem. When you have low self-esteem, they will make you fight for their love and approval because only when you fight and they put immovable objects in front of you, objections, and you claw and you fight and you prove your love for them and make the grand gestures every single time, and then they'll be like, ah, yes. But if a person with a healthy self esteem loves himself or herself, they'll be like, yeah, everybody loves me. I love me. So I love you. And it's going to be so simple. So make sure it all starts with our own sense of self worth, first of all. So our responsibility starts there. Anyway, the next one. The relationship will require effort sometimes, but it'll never require sacrifice, ever. And then you will know your partner is faithful. I don't care, like our friendships, this is there is no sexual tension in a platonic relationship, right? And there is also no sense of like, oh, I went and I met this new person and I'm becoming good friends with them. Both of you are not going to feel cheated upon, right? But this is what sets a romantic relationship different from a platonic relationship. You do not want to be with a partner who makes you feel jittery. You want to be with a partner who makes you the priority. And in a healthy relationship, you will never get the sense that there is even a possibility that this person is going to cheat on you because we need that. Our self esteem, no matter how rock strong our self esteem is, we need to come home to a person that says, you're it. The whole world is probably filled with so many other men and women that I could choose. But you know what? I'm decided on you. This is a full stop. This is not a semicolon. It's not a comma. You're my full stop. And they focus on you. So this is important in a healthy relationship. Not a person who loves you in spite of all the gorgeous other girls outside or the hot men on Grindr, but loves you because you love them the same way. So that is very, very important in a healthy relationship. And like we all three of us have said in very different ways, it'll feel simple and easy and uncomplicated. We will feel like a fit. So this is my thesis statement on what a course of a healthy relationship will feel like. So, anything else you guys want to add to this?
I just have a quote to sum up the series, and
Yes.
serendipitously, it is from the book that I'm reading. I can't recommend it enough, The Silent Patient.
Okay.
There is this quote in this book, one of the characters is saying it, about how we often mistake love for fireworks, for drama and dysfunction. But real love is very quiet, very still. It's boring if seen from the perspective of high drama. Love is deep and calm and constant.
Oh, isn't that what we want?
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Boring.
So, yeah. Can't have enough of boring, yes. All right. Thank you so much, my dearest friends, Abhi and Jharna, for joining
Thank
me
you.
on
Thank you.
this trip where we've done so much. I think I've healed so much over the last month and a half that we've discussed this topic. And in a weird way, it's brought me closer to you, which makes me feel like it's a win win situation. Thank you so much for being part of this large discussion, every viewer. And I hope you join us next fortnight for another topic that will be revealed. And be safe. This is an uncertain time, an unprecedented time, a time of great discomfort, also a time of great reckoning and introspection. So let's make use of this time that we have by ourselves and come out with better sense of self-worth, and a sense of what is mine. I will get it and I will demand it and I will never settle. So let's grab romance and love by its horns when we come out of our quarantine. Thank you so much and good night. Thank you,
Goodbye.
Abhi, and thank you,
Bye.
Jarna. Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.